the best and worst eras of hip hop, because I feel like me and my friends always talk about this, especially me and this dude Vic. This dude Vic calls me Unc, but this nigga is always listening to some old ass 82 fucking like thing and thinking it's the higher power of thinking. So I wanna
Hip hop has
whoa, okay. But you know what I'm saying? I wanna look at this. I've been actually wanting to look at this for a minute. So again, for those that don't know, we react to a few videos first, hop into games, and we just vibe out. Like, y'all comment, we comment on each other's comments, and that's how we do it. Okay, so, damn, this has been a while since I've done this. Okay, so this is definitely going up on my YouTube channel. YouTube! Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right, YouTube, welcome back. It's been a minute. Oh, I work at 5:30. Damn. I feel that though. I know you. I don't know if you was here, but I got 2 jobs now, man. So trust me, I shouldn't even be. You said 2 times speed. Fuck you, bro. Are you trying to say put my YouTube video on 2 times speed? Whatever, bro. But now I feel you though. I gotta go to sleep like around like 10, so I could be up super early to go to this first job, and then after the first job, go to my second job. Man, it's rough out here. It's rough out here in these streets, but it's only for the summer. I'm just stacking my money right now, so it is what it is. You need to pop out on my birthday. See, yeah, your birthday is coming up in July, right? Damn, we getting old, y'all. We getting old. July 12th, yeah. We getting old, y'all. We getting old. Can we censor the word job? Damn, bro. This dude Vic's so unemployed. He want to censor the word job. This is why I told you you're not about your money. But anyways, okay? Anyways. We need to get to this video.
Hip hop has had a lot of great eras.
Let me know if it's too loud.
From the golden era and the West Coast versus East Coast era to the blog era and the SoundCloud era. But like with anything, the highs do not come without the lows. From songs that are made emphasizing 30 seconds of the track so they go viral as a ringtone or on TikTok, to people doing anything for attention all the while having terrible music, there have been some rough patches. So today we're going to be looking into some of the best versus some of the worst eras in hip-hop history. I just want to say there's a lot of nuance to these eras.
Did he kill Tupac?
Of course, there are
Facts.
great songs and artists in every single era and vice versa. But usually when I'm saying it's a bad era, it's because a lot of people viewed this era as bad, or at the time there just wasn't a lot going on mainstream-wise. But it's also important to note that when I'm talking about an era that was widely disliked in retrospect, that does not mean that every single artist or song at that time was bad. I'm just saying in general, this time wasn't as good as the others. So with that in mind, don't get angry, and let's continue with the video. Mumble rap. Mumble rap is often a
All right. Before we continue, right? How we feeling about mumble rap? To all my viewers, how we feeling about mumble rap? Me personally, I never seen an issue with it, but I can see why a lot of hip hop purists hate it. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I can see why a lot of y'all hate it, right? Me personally, I didn't think it was a bad. Like, it's cool if you turn off your brain and turn up, but me personally, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't find it too bad. Personally, right? Personally. But I know a lot of old heads out there hate it, so.
And derogatory term used to describe the SoundCloud rap era. But make no mistake,
I have no clue why it's its own genre.
Rappers.
True. Well, no. That makes sense why it's its own genre. Because let's be real here. Mumble rap was like a 2016 and up thing. I'm gonna try to stop stopping or pausing. But 2016 and up, that's when the term came about. Like, you have to have a way to describe what it's called. Like, you can't just sit here and be like, this is rap. It is rap, but it's mumble rap. Just like how there's lifestyle rap, there's horrorcore rap, there's punk rap. I was trying to think of something. I don't know. But, like, you know what I'm saying? There is different genres of rap, so.
Well, old heads will call artists like Young Thug, Future, and Migos, and people like that mumble rappers. That isn't what I mean when I talk about this era. I'm talking about the worst of the worst. the Lil Pumps, the Lil Xans, and people like that. And this era sucked for a couple of reasons. The first time that the term mumble rap was actually used, at least that we are aware of, was in 2014 when interviewer Michael Hughes was talking with a rapper named Loaded Lux about this new style that was coming out in hip-hop.
In mainstream hip-hop, you know, a lot of, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but there's some emergence of mumble rapping, and it's been going on for a couple years.
Yeah, man, talk that shit. You know what it is.
Slurring and just not even saying a word, and people are bumping it like it's the Messiah just came through or something.
So people always looking into new things. I'm from the school of music with a message, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not totally shunning that, though. You know, I think we're all sponges, and we all can gather, you know, information from one another. We all inspire one another.
Like I said, it comes off as more of a derogatory term, saying that the new artists are just slurring their words and not really talking about anything important. And the comments on this video
That's
were
true.
people saying
That's
things
true.
like gargling lean through autotune, or mumbling is the death of hip-hop. A lot of people at this time attributed the start of mumble rap to Future and his track Tony Montana back in 2011, which is really ironic because Future said, "I remember being so fucking high on this song, I couldn't even open my mouth." When I listened back the next day, I was like, man, what the fuck is this? But I loved it. Like, that shit sounded raw. Another artist who really exemplified this sound was Designer, with most fans having no idea what he was saying on tracks like Panda. However, as years went on, a lot of these artists that were criticized for being mumble rappers proved that they made quality music and that they had staying power, regardless of what
mumble
lyrical content.
People really got off pills to try to rap, and it became a genre. I mean, but that's what he was saying, though. It's like, the times were changing, and it's unfortunate that people got on pills and rapped, but it stuck. Now, like, the whole Tony Montana, okay. I mean, that's just crazy in itself. But, like, I'm not going to sit here and act like there isn't some mumble rap songs I like, but, I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with the genre. I do understand, though, it is kind of, if we're being genuinely honest, it is probably the worst era of hip hop. But that's not saying like it's a bad thing. It's saying it as in like, if we're really comparing it, I would really much rather listen to somebody who has the lyrics going into my ear rather than I was trying to think of a mumble rap song, but I couldn't even, because I know he said Tony Montana, but Lil Yachty started mumble rap. Did he though? You think so? I don't know, cause I'm trying to think. His first single, One Night. You want this for? But you can cause you can understand Yachty on that song. Like when it's mumble rap, they're talking about when you can't understand what the hell they're saying. You can understand Yachty on that song. Or maybe my ears have just adapted to that song. Because you can understand that he's clearly saying, like, I know you want this for life. I feel like mumble would be Young Thug. Now, that's me. I know that's going to offend people, but I don't give a damn. Young Thug is mumble rap to me. Especially his earlier work. Maybe not now, but his lifestyle? That was my first time of hearing mumble rap. Bro, literally on the hook, he said, living the life like a beginning, but this is only beginning. Like, bro, he merged that whole little part into like three words, bro. Like, come on now. That's mumble rap. That's mumble rap. That's not a bad thing, because I actually do like that song, but that's mumble rap to me. That's going to offend so many people. I don't give a fuck.
It was about. At first, I think the term was largely disliked because it didn't even accurately describe the artists they were mentioning. Others said it doesn't make sense because a lot of the artists who were called mumble rappers weren't even mumbling. Regardless, though, during this period, a lot of older artists began bashing the new generation, which is one of the main reasons that this era wasn't the best. Hip-hop OGs like Wiz Khalifa and Snoop Dogg began smack talking the new era.
And everybody trying to rap the same style with the, I don't know who created it, if it was Future or Migos, but all them niggas sound the same.
I remember this interview, bro.
What do you think about where things are with the artists coming up? Well, and it's not all of them, because there's definitely rappers out here who spin bars. Like, it's not all the young kids, but there is what's the kid, Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi Vert. They're like, yo, we're not rappers. We just we're artists, so we're just rock stars.
We call it mumble rap.
Oh, so y'all got a name for it?
Yeah, me and my homies. I mean, it ain't no disrespect to the little homies, but like they know what's up. They say they don't want to rap, you know what I mean? But it's cool for now.
And a lot of new artists didn't really appreciate this term either.
I don't understand because I don't see where I be mumbling.
And saying I'm a mumble rapper, but you can hear every word I got.
Other new artists like Corday made entire songs targeted at the older guys, telling them to chill out and let the evolution of the genre happen. This became a huge debate in the hip-hop community and created a giant divide between the younger and the older artists, as well as the listeners.
I think it's just a kind of a disrespect word called mumble rap when you got really actually understand what they're saying. Like, I like using Yachty as an example. That's a homie of mine. And they'll talk so much stuff about his music.
I wonder why they're
and then
saying
when
Yachty.
He'll drop some more music and they'll talk shit about that. And what
I
that
feel
makes
like I
sense
could
is if you feel
understand
like he's
Yachty.
trash, why the
That's-
fuck would
I
you
don't
listen
know.
to it, something else he dropped? If you hate it, you wouldn't even pay any mind or even pay attention to him.
At the time, this was a really big controversy that had a lot of the audience divided. There was even a bunch of corny YouTube rappers that put out a song called Death to Mumble Rap, which perfectly demonstrated why both
That
sides
shit-
of
this
this
shit
era
looks so
were terrible.
ass.
Like I said, though, a lot of these artists that were called mumble rappers went on to prove themselves. Uzi, Yachty, Future, not Designer, but a lot of those people went on to prove that they had longevity, they could make good music, and the term mumble rap was eventually deemed corny. They even had Cardi listed as a mumble rapper, which is so ironic seeing as how Cardi would influence rap so much in the future. The problem was that eventually there
True.
were a handful of artists
But he
who
kinda-
would come
I
out
mean,
that fit the
hey, if you
definition
listen
pretty
to
well.
Self-Titled,
Lil
he
Pump
do
is
be kinda
probably the
mumbling a
prime
little bit.
example of the mumble rap era. And by this point, mumble rap wasn't even really about actually mumbling, more so about just talking about BS with no actual substance or talent. Despite going viral with songs like Gucci Gang, where the chorus just repeats the phrase Gucci Gang, his success was short-lived, and he was heavily criticized. Like the Guardian writer who said, like his peers, Pump writes lyrics that cover the standard gangster rap topics, drugs, designer clothes, and disparaging attitudes to women, but do so with an emphasis on mindless repetition and a post-ironic sense of the ridiculous. And I think the XXL cipher demonstrates his rapping abilities well.
Look at my diamond shine. Better than 5 at a time. She let me hit from behind. Yeah, my body dripping in Louis. I mix it up with the Gucci.
This video has comments like when you walk into this special ed room by accident. Artists like Future and Uzi and Yachty and all
Golly,
these people
bro.
that were called mumble rappers, they had melodic talent, they could write catchy hooks, they had all of these skills that artists like Lil Pump did not have. He was just mumble rapping, I guess. Lil Pump also heavily played on tropes that other mumble rappers did, like flexing his wealth all of the time.
Yeah. No security on my jury on. Ah! What up? Ah!
Things like this even resulted in artists such as J. Cole addressing this new generation of rappers, specifically Lil Pump, saying that if he keeps making music like this and blowing all of his money in a dumb way, eventually he will fall off and go broke, which ironically enough is exactly what happened. Lil Xan is another artist who represented mumble rap well, especially
I
with
didn't
the
even
name
listen to
Lil
Lil
Xan.
Xan. Thank God. Thank God I didn't listen to Lil Xan at all. I know some of y'all did, though. Go on ahead and say it. I
He
know
was
y'all
always
did.
off of him and his music. But I think one thing that Lil Xan
This
did
is how
that
you
really
cut a Xan
summarized the
cake.
mentality of these mumble rappers was when Xan called Tupac boring and gave him a low rating on the clout scale.
2. The boring music.
Anything
Obviously,
for attention.
people were not happy about this, with comments like,
what's
"This
good,
guy has
Kevin? What's
brain
good,
damage."
Kevin? Dab me
Someone
up,
put
dab
him
me
down.
up, dab me
This
up,
got
dab me
a
up.
ton of criticism from the hip hop community.
They ask you to rank the clout of a rapper that's been dead for 22 years, and you have the nerve to give him a 2? Little Xan.
So okay, right. This I'm gonna try to keep this short because I love to yap about this, and I really wish like I had a hell of people to yap about this with. But look, let's be real here, right? Because I feel like this is bullshit. Like Lil Xan giving Tupac a 2 or whatever and saying he's boring. I feel like that's some BS shit, right? But like, we have to remember though, bro. Lil Xan, when was he born? Like 1998, right? If I'm not mistaken. Hold up. Let me see something. Lil Xan. When was he born? Yeah. Oh no, 96. Okay, he was born in 1996, bro. So that means at most, he couldn't have heard Tupac at all. He literally died the same year he was born. So it's kind of like, I'm not agreeing with Lil Xan. I'm far from agreeing with Lil Xan. I love Tupac. I got a hella Tupac songs on my list. But for them to say like, oh, he's tripping for not listening to Tupac, or he's tripping for saying that, it's like, people grow up different, bro. I was born way after Tupac, but I mean, I still fuck with Tupac, but it's like it's like the whole Michael Jordan shit too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like older people gotta realize if you didn't grow up with a certain type of like thing, it's gonna be hard for you to say that's the best. Like, I don't have Tupac on my top 5. I don't think anybody has Tupac on their top 5. I'm just kidding. Nah, hella people do. But I'm saying people around my age. I feel like you gotta understand, if you grew up after a certain era, you're not finna have that, you're not finna have the old shit on the top 5 unless if you just either A, people older than you played it, B, you went out and seeked it for yourself and then like you was just like, oh, this shit way better than today, or C, both. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not finna have it. I don't have Tupac on my top 5. Like, I don't. Personally. Like, I don't. But I still fuck with him. I have hella fucking Tupac songs on my playlist. So, like I said, I'm gonna keep it short, but that's really how I feel about it. Niggas say, yes, sir, it's LeBron the king. Now, I'm not finna say that. I definitely 100% believe, like, I think Michael Jordan's probably the GOAT. Like, I ain't finna say that shit. But LeBron is like number 2. I'm gonna say LeBron is number 2 for sure. But I still think like MJ's he probably got LeBron beat. But I just like East Coast rap better. Oh, brother, see, now look, going back to this is when you run into a nigga like Vic. People like Vic. Yeah, I love you, Vic, in the motherfucking chat. Y'all can see it right here. Look. Hold on, let me point. Look. I love you, Vic. This motherfucker right here. This is what you call a young old head. This is the ones you call where they be like, you be like, they have their earphones in and be like, oh, bro, what you listening to? Dude, you know, I'm just listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. You know that album from 1982? Way better than that new GNX Kendrick Lamar. Way better. That's what this dude does. That's exactly what this motherfucker does. Like, that's exactly what this motherfucker does right here. So, look, if y'all run into the young old heads, that's exactly how they act. This is exactly how they fucking act right there, bruh. We're literally talking about old hip-hop. What is he yapping about? Bro, I'm literally saying if you grew up with it or if you went to seek it out, then that's fine. Even Tyler brought that up. He was saying, you know what? Nah, fuck all that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But for real though, like... hold up, let me switch back.
And ask yourself this: would they be asking another rapper about you 22 years from now?
Hey, what about the melodic rap? See, dab me up. I love melodic rap. Dab me up. I love melodic rap. That shit hard.
Probably not.
He probably gonna bring it up though.
Remembered unless, of course, you die from a Xanax overdose, God forbid, and then you become a cautionary tale. But I promise you, if that was to happen to you right now, you, little Xanax, you would trend on Twitter for a day. Your family would care, and hip-hop would move on.
Okay, jazz rap, dab me up.
Banned from the genre. And this comment damn near ruined his career. Although none of these guys had much staying power anyway. On the flip side of this, you also had a lot of great artists coming out, but they weren't free from the mumble rap accusations. The SoundCloud era. Despite SoundCloud being
okay. So I know Kevin just joined, but so far we covered... What did we cover? We covered the mumble rap, right? Okay, so we just covered mumble rap. We just got off that. Now we in SoundCloud era. Now, how do we feel about SoundCloud? So SoundCloud, what is that, like 2014 to 2018? I actually like the SoundCloud era, okay? That shit was fire. Not only because that was the high school years, but there was hella artists. But see, what's weird is that the SoundCloud era and mumble rap era, they kind of overlap each other. So it's like, it's kind of hard to like say one happened before the other. And I know this is the best versus worst eras in hip hop, but he's probably going to explain it. But for the most part, I feel like they overlap each other. But anyways, I feel like when you see a wave, use it as a boost for your own shit. Yeah, pretty much. That's That's really how it is. SoundCloud popping. Now it ain't. Yeah, it was. Ain't nobody on SoundCloud, bro.
Generation of artists
except for me.
A decade later. While streaming platforms had been getting more popular in the 2010s, artists started to realize that they could make music over the internet on a cheap setup rather than a studio, and then just release it for free on SoundCloud.
Because now people use BandLab.
Bryson Tiller was one of the first artists to blow up on SoundCloud, but he didn't really capture the sound that this new generation was making. Of course, you have all your sub niches of SoundCloud rap as well, like Suicide Boys, Puya, Xavier Wolf, Space Ghost Perp, Raider Clan, and all these other underground artists that were paving the way for the new generation. The low barrier to entry and the gritty/grungy music was very appealing to the younger generation. But one of the artists who really spearheaded the entire SoundCloud era was Lil Uzi Vert. Lil Uzi Vert blew up with the track Money Longer in 2016, and his aesthetic with the pink hair and the rock star attitude was quite a bit different from a lot of rappers at that time. With influence from artists like Future, Young Thug, and the rest of the more melodic rap scene that was coming up, the SoundCloud generation took it a step further. Other artists like Lil Yachty burst onto the scene with songs like Minnesota that were so different from what was popular, but it became the new wave. It also resulted, like I said, in a lot of hate from the older generation, calling some of them mumble rappers. But also, like I said, over time they proved themselves. And I think the moment that perfectly summed up the SoundCloud era is the 2016 XXL Cypher featuring Kodak Black, Lil Uzi Vert.
This is obviously gonna go down in history. Whether old heads want to agree or not, bro, this is gonna go down in history. Like 2016's XXL, whether they like it or not, it's gonna go down in history, bro. Like it's y'all can't deny it. So y'all might as well either suck it up or just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happened 9 years ago. Like, people still use this as an example. They'll go on Twitter. If you go on Twitter right now and type in like 2016 XXL trash or some shit, I guarantee you the last tweet was probably like either 2023 or 2024. Like, bro, it's been 9 years. Like, relax. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was Carl shit back then. Hell yeah, that shit was my shit, bro. I used to sing that all the time, bro.
All artists who came up in the SoundCloud era and exemplified the different sounds that the genre had to offer.
Who the fuck picked this little sorry ass beat? I'm from the ugly corner, man.
That little sour ass street.
But it wasn't over yet. By 2017, a variety of other sounds came out of the SoundCloud era too, such as Florida rap. Artists like XXXTentacion and Ski Mask the Slump God burst onto the scene with their much more aggressive style of rapping, their distorted beats, and the overall do-it-yourself vibe. They had a cult-like fan base and were extremely successful. Lyrical Lemonade was also putting on for a ton of artists with a new style of music videos that everyone loved. At the same time, you had other artists like Ugly God making a much more playful sort of rap music, releasing it on SoundCloud and going viral. Of course, he was also a pretty likable guy. The other big sound coming out around
not gonna lie, Wait
is
Denzel Curry still doing good numbers. Yeah, hell yeah. He Denzel Curry still puts out good yeah, hell yeah, dude. He still puts out some good shit, I think. His numbers are still going up, I know for sure. Cause he get cold like Minnesota. But compared to everyone on the XXL list, probably not. But he still puts out like good things. I know for sure. Let me see. I'm trying to see something. Yeah, his last album debuted at number 51 on the Billboard 200 and then number 23 on the top hip hop charts. So he's definitely doing good, but he's like, compared to everyone else, I'll give you that. Compared to everyone else, nah. But in his own right, hell yeah. Like, he's still definitely making money, still definitely touring. So he's like what I like to call a mini superstar. You know, somebody who could still sell out, or not sell out, but like, well, sell out stadiums, sort of, or sell out venues, but like, doesn't have the raw power of like a Kendrick or a Drake or, you know.
Eventually, after he passed away, it seemed like Juice WRLD was the artist who took up the mantle and led the emo rap genre / SoundCloud era for years. He was extremely successful and one of the most successful rappers of all time. Also got to shout out one of my personal favorites.
I was about to say that too. Rest in peace, Juice.
Just had to throw him in here. In totality, though, this whole era seemed to have an overall do-it-yourself, almost punk sort of vibe, where all these new sounds were coming out and the music was just super fun. It's hard to describe this era if you weren't there to see it, but it was a great time and is one of the main reasons everyone reminisces reminisces so hard about the year 2016. Honestly, I sort of built my channel off reminiscing on the SoundCloud era, so I'm pretty biased towards it, but trust me, it was a great time. It seemed like after Juice WRLD passed away in 2019, the genre died with him. Before Juice, there were tons of huge artists blowing up off SoundCloud, but after him, it didn't seem like anyone...
I'm not gonna lie, this has nothing to do with music, but I've always thought Juice WRLD's like dreads looked so weird to me. But like not in a bad way, but just how the fuck do you even get your dreads like this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this look, again, no disrespect. I don't like, you know, speaking on the dead like this. It just always confused me because like it's freeform. I know that, but like how the hell, like, how do you do that? Like, how do you get your dreads like that? You know, like, I always, like, you know, I'm not trying to speak on him though. Rest in peace, Juice. It just never makes sense to me.
I've seen many others attribute his death to the end of this era. So unfortunately, it seems like it ended when Juice died. But for the years that the SoundCloud era was going strong, it was really pushing forward the sound of hip-hop. However, not all of it was great, because right as the SoundCloud era was kind of dying out, the Clout era began. I named this one myself, but I think it's very fitting of what happened.
Okay. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't know why it's this high up on the list, because if he's going mumble rap, SoundCloud, and Clout era, I know he said he's going to based on according to like old heads and what he's seen on the internet. This is the worst era to me. Clout era rap was the worst era. This era fucking sucked. Okay, that 2017 to like 2019, that shit was not it, bro.
These years, and you'll see what I mean. A lot of rappers like Xan and Pump, who didn't really make good music or have staying power, resorted to desperate social media stunts to retain their popularity. Another thing that played the hand in this was the emergence of Instagram influencers like Supreme Patty doing crazy things to go viral. Shock value was huge on Instagram and social media at this time.
That shit
and
was
it
the
caused
worst.
a lot of artists to follow in the footsteps of others.
Is he gonna
One
talk
of the
about
first loud
Wavy?
and obnoxious artist to do this was 6ix9ine, who right out of the gate in his career started beefs for attention. And I'm also going to guess that his 6ix9ine's tattooed all over him and the rainbow hair was for attention as well. He had problems with artists like Pierre Bourne, Trippie Redd, Zillakami, and more. Not to mention, 6ix9ine was also very big on chronically flexing his money all of the time.
They say the King of New York is back tomorrow, April 15th. Listen, you know I don't address nothing. I'm never going to address nothing. Y'all believe what y'all want to believe. That's a half a ticket right there. I'm really the type that could take 2 years off. Because this is really my lifestyle.
Which is ironic, seeing as how he's going broke now. And on top of all that, 6ix9ine was very viral for his legal issues, gang affiliations, and him ratting on his gang, which led to him being labeled a rat and turned into a...
That's a crazy ass
he may have been
fucking
one of the
drawing,
first
bro.
in the Clout era to capitalize on controversies.
See, but that's what I'm saying, bro. This is the worst era. This is the worst era to me. The Clout era of hip hop and rap was... Nah, because we had niggas like Pump, Ski Mask, not Ski Mask, Smoke Perp, Block Boy J. Well, nah, Block Boy JB he wasn't really a Clout era rap. He just kind of fell off. 6ix9ine, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, you said, wait, go back, please. Oh, to the drawing?
Ratting on his gang, which led
You
to
mean
him
this
being
shit? You mean this shit, bro? Look how they drew him, bro. Look at this fucking that shit. You said, bro. Like, this shit. That's one nasty drug.
labeled a rat and turned into a...
This shit is they gave him brown eyebrows too. Like, what the fuck? But nah, this
huge meme. So while he may have been one of the first in the Clout era to capitalize on controversies, he was far from the last. Of course, like I said, Lil Pump and Lil Xan were artists participating in this too, with Pump doing gimmicky clout chasing things on social media all the time.
You can right here.
Man, shut your ass up.
No can do that here.
What?
You want I call police or security?
I don't give a f. Pumping it, man. That shit. I don't give a f.
Not gonna lie, that Clout shit was never gonna last in the long run. Of course. Clout's never gonna last in the long run. If you don't switch up your content after getting, like I've always said this, and this goes for anything, this goes for streaming too. Once you blow up and get your clout, whatever you was doing, you better switch that shit up. Like, either after a year or some change or whatever, because I guarantee you that shit not finna stick. It's just not. It's not finna stick. It's not. And this has nothing to do with rap, but like, even when Berleezy Berlizzi brought this up. He was saying like how he blew up off of the Exposed series when he was talking about cartoons and shit. I think he even said he guarantees if he would have stuck with just exposing cartoons and never went to like gaming and streaming, he would have been stuck. He would have been that one YouTuber that like no one really watches. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you gotta switch it up. Like, once you blow up a little bit.
But probably one of the biggest examples of this is Boonk. Boonk was known mostly for his
I was about
stunts
to
where he
bring
would
him up
basically
too.
just steal
Boonk
things.
gang. Now look, right? Now look. I know I keep pausing. I'm sorry. I learned from the best. I'm Dante. What's good? Anyways. But for real, right? I'm not gonna lie. Boonk gang was a little bit entertaining. I won't lie. He was a little bit entertaining. When he would grab some shit and be like, Boonk gang, whole lot of gang shit. I used to say that shit all the time, bro. I used to say that shit all the time. I'm not gonna lie. His shit was a little entertaining, but it wasn't fun to last him in the long run. It wasn't. It wasn't.
Download Prince Montana Jungle Rules, you know what I'm saying? Thanks for the donuts.
So because of this, most people didn't even know that Boonk was also an aspiring rapper. Ironically enough, his publicity stunts took all the attention away from the fact that he also made music, rather than towards it. Although he was able to rack up a couple million views on World Star on some of his singles. Most of the artists from this era didn't make good music, and while maybe a few of their tracks would go viral, their publicity stunts and controversies are what kept their names in the headlines. Like when Boonk got dangerously addicted to drugs and passed out on No Jumper.
Shout out to the homie Boonk.
This was so crazy.
Help me with this nigga though. Okay.
When he just passed out like that, I said, oh, okay, this is serious.
Thankfully,
My
though,
man's
Boonk
was
turned his life around, became a Christian, and actually started releasing some decent songs. Regardless, though, the
My
Cloud
man was
era
really
was like
drugged
a
out
much
during
more
that interview.
devolved version of the mumble rap era. It was everything people hated about mumble rap on steroids. And another great example of this is Bad Baby. Bad Baby originally went viral as the
I
Catch Me
forgot
Outside
about
girl.
her, bro.
Catch me outside, how about that?
And guess what she was able to do almost successfully with this virality? She used the memes to launch a rap career. Granted, it was never that successful, but she actually got a decent amount of attention on her first handful of songs, like Gucci Flip Flops and Hi Bitch. She actually was one of the youngest artists to have 3 singles on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, so maybe I'm lying about her not being that successful. And this is a prime example of why.
And then she started at OnlyFans at 18. At 18. She like, I still remember the day she turned 18, she launched it. And it was like, oh wow. I don't even want to speak on that. That's not this type of channel, but that shit. She became so popular after it so late. Yeah, apparently she made millions off of OnlyFans. This
why people hated
that
this
shit
era,
is just-
because they would let people like this go viral for some dumb stuff and turn it into a profitable
But can
rap
you
career.
hate?
And
I mean, I'm not hating on anybody getting the bag. Get your bag. But like, bro, you just turned 18. Like, you know what I'm saying? Give it at least a month. Like, did you try college? Did you try? Did you try to go to college? Did you even try to, like, I don't know, release another hit song? Now put yourself in her shoes. Bro, first off, I'm not starting an OnlyFans. You gonna catch me, I was about to say you gonna catch me outside. How ironic. Anyways, you gonna fucking, I'm gonna be on stream. See, here's what I would do personally. If I fell off or if I was one of these rappers, I would just become a streamer. That's the next biggest thing, the next biggest investment. I already got a little bit of fans. As long as you got that little bit of fans, go on here, play some games, get your clips, post them to TikTok, rack up that money, rack up those views, and bam, right there. You literally just reworked your whole career into a streaming career rather than a fall-off rapper. That's what T Grizzly does. That's what Ski Mask does. That's what Snoop Dogg does. That's what fucking what is that? YBN Almighty J. That's what all of them niggas did. They reworked their careers. Well, not Snoop Dogg. He was just an example. But they reworked their careers into streaming. T Grizzly got his own GTA server. Shit, making money off of that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would do if I fell off. I wouldn't do OnlyFans. But like I said, get your bag. But like, I heard you scam people on the server. I heard that too.
To this
Hey,
day, she's
that's
still
how you can
somewhat
say rich,
relevant
though.
and dropping diss tracks on other female artists. But to be honest, most of her relevance
Whoa!
can probably be attributed
Ah,
to her
fuck it.
OnlyFans. But I think the best prime example
Twitch,
of the
relax,
clout
bro. That
era
wasn't-
is Kid Buu.
relax,
Kid
Twitch.
Buu was a rapper who was like the final culmination
Sick.
of this era. He took something from everyone I mentioned and meshed it all into one stupid gimmick. And that's because Kid Buu came out the gate claiming that he was a clone.
I was cloned by Clonate in Canada. My model number is 0112568 if anyone wants to see the registration and Clonate.
Okay.
He goes on to say that he was cloned by some weird religious sect in Canada called Clonaid, and even read off his model number in case anyone wanted to double check. He talked about having a first generation clone, or he's a second generation clone. And as you can see, his whole gimmick was pretending to be a clone, hoping to bring attention to his music. But
I
as I'm
remember when
sure you
he
can guess, his music
pretended he had cancer, I think.
wasn't good, so it didn't really do much for
Shit,
him.
I got
He
a
did sort of go
clone too.
viral for a minute with his Genius interviews in particular, getting a good bit of views. But apart from that, the gimmicky clout chasing stuff wore off quickly. He
Wait,
still
who is
puts out
this,
music
Kid Buu?
to this day, but Spotify doesn't really even show his plays, so I can't imagine there are too many. I think the last remnant of the clout era that we have is the Island Boys, and there's plenty of videos on their downfalls. They have fallen off harder than they even came up, and that goes to show that people are fed up with the Instagram gimmicks, the colored hair, the crazy styles, the obnoxious and unnecessary face tattoos and personalities. Mind my voice, I'm really sick right now, but yeah, people are tired of this era. While the clout era was full of annoying Instagram gimmicks. Back in the golden age, you didn't need
Oh
gimmicks.
yeah,
to
I
go
remember
crazy.
I remember telling my friend why out of everyone with their clone Kid Buu. Right? Like what? like who give a fuck? Like you, I've like yeah, I get you, bro. That shit's hilarious.
It was all about talent. The golden age. The golden age was one of the
All right. So again, so far we have mumble rap, SoundCloud, clout era, and golden age. Now I can already see, judging by this Wikipedia article, it says golden age is mid to mid-late 1980s to early to mid 1990s. Okay. So how do we feel about the golden age, right? Of hip hop. Me personally, I like it. I love 80s and 90s hip hop. So I don't have a problem with this. I've never had a problem with old school rap and hip hop. So, you know what I'm saying? Me personally, I like it. Way better than the genres before this that he mentioned. Maybe outside of SoundCloud, but that's just because of how old I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I already explained that earlier. That's just because of how old I am. But this golden age definitely better than clout and mumble for sure, 100%. Name some albums from this era. Okay, well, let's look at the artists associated with this era. We have LL Cool J, I'm Bad. We got Slick Rick. We got what was that one called? Children's Story, I think. Public Enemy. We got Fight the Power. We got De La Soul, Me, Myself, and I. DJ, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Parents Don't Understand. KRS-One, That's the Sound of the Police. I was trying to remember. Big Daddy Kane. I was just listening to this nigga. I don't know the name of his album though. Bismarcky. I don't listen to the Beastie Boys. I listened to Ice-T. I actually just got done listening to Ice-T before I hopped on stream. Ghetto Boys, NWA, the sex raps of 2 Live Crew and Too Short.
The longest running.
Why do they call it that? What the fuck?
Unanimously agreed upon.
I mean, it kind of
best
is like that.
eras
So
in rap history. From about 1984 to 1996, hip hop evolved a ton. Expanded a lot outside of just New York, and a multitude of new great artists came out. It's also when hip-hop started to become a lot more popular. MTV started playing rap
Run
songs,
DMC.
which of course made the genre much more popular. Run DMC released their debut self-titled album, which inspired a ton of new artists to come. LL Cool J released his debut album, Radio, which stepped away from rap's more fun, disco-style type music with a much more aggressive and simple style. In '86, the Beastie Boys dropped License to Ill, which was the first album to chart on the Billboard 200. Other artists like Eric B. and Rakim were releasing tons of great music too. Public Enemy then came out with their debut album, which was super political, and they helped popularize the self-empowerment movement within hip-hop. On a similar note, NWA came out with Straight Outta Compton that same year in '88. This album is widely credited with popularizing gangster rap. Slick Rick, Big Daddy Kane, De La Soul, A Tribe Called Quest, and tons of other great artists were coming out during this period, with each artist seemingly pushing the genre forward in their own unique way. According to Rolling Stone, it seemed that every new single reinvented the genre. The importance and complexity of flows was developing. Technical, lyrical abilities were advancing. Jazz rap was created. Gangster rap came out. Super political anthems were coming out. Blends of rap with other genres like funk, soul, and rock were also coming out.
Hell
it's hard to
yeah.
explain in just one section of this video how many
Soul
things
rap
were
be
happening.
hitting
And
different,
think about
man.
it. Hip-hop was still a relatively new genre, only being created a decade prior. So as its popularity grew and exploded across the United States, everyone was adding their own twist to it, which created a time period of innovation. It was literally like the Industrial Revolution for rap. The 90s also saw a huge influx of great talent from primarily both the East and West Coast. Dr. Dre released the album The Chronic in '92, which was the origin of G-Funk and put a spotlight on the West Coast legend Snoop Dogg as well. The next year, Wu-Tang Clan released Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, which was a huge album.
You
for the
want
East
beef,
Coast.
we'll
Snoop
bring
Dogg
the
put out Doggy
ruckus.
Style,
Wu-Tang
Confidence,
Clan ain't nothing to
Illmatic,
fuck
an album
with.
often regarded as one of the best rap
Shout out to
albums of all
Wu-Tang
time.
Clan.
The East and West Coast of the United States were dominating hip-hop. Outkast was also doing their thing, putting on for Southern rap and creating some amazing and unique music. But the East and West Coast was about to get even crazier. Tupac and Biggie dropped their debut albums in the 90s and became some of the best rappers to ever do it. Many people include them in their greatest of all time lists, and that's for a reason. However, the two of them had some tension between them that eventually boiled over into an all-out beef between the East Coast rappers / record labels and the West Coast rappers / record labels. More specifically, Death Row Records and Bad Boy Entertainment, to which the two were respectively signed. Again, there's so much stuff going on in this period, it's hard to explain it all, but this beef was a huge deal, with Tupac releasing the track Hit 'Em Up, which is
First
often
off,
regarded
fuck
as
your
one of the
bitch in the
most
clip
scathing
you
diss
claim.
tracks of all time. Oh, and
Bruh,
Jay-Z came out with Reasonable
that
Doubt,
is
too.
fucking-
But many believe this is when the golden era ended.
Anyways.
When Tupac passed away in 1996,
Shit.
and when Biggie passed away a year later as well. And while the golden
That's
era
such a
was arguably
disrespectful
the
diss,
best
bro.
ever in hip-hop history, a lot of people have some love and hate for the ringtone rap era. Ringtone rap. Now, the ringtone rap era definitely produced...
Shout out to the ringtone rap era. Yes, sir. That's my era right there. We 2000s kids in this bitch, everyone. Gather around, my 2000s kids. Gather around. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is our era right here, my boy. This is the big T-shirts with the fitted caps, with the do-rags on. Basically, everything that TikTok is dressing like right now, that's this era. For anyone who don't know.
Produced some bangers, but also caused quite a few problems for hip-hop in a similar way to the TikTok era. And I'm not talking about the TikTok era because the ringtone rap era basically had the same issues, so I'm going to basically just combine them. It's an era that I saw pop up a lot when I was researching the worst eras in rap history, and I think I understand the reason why. But don't hate on me yet. Let me explain myself, because I know there's a lot of nostalgia paired with this era. Ringtone rap, also referred to as snap rap, got popular in the early 2000s, thanks especially to people switching from their home phones to mobile phones with brands like Nokia, Motorola, and BlackBerry. Back then, people were having so much fun with ringtones that they would often have a different song for all of their different contacts. So because of this, artists started trying to make their songs catchy and short for ringtone. Like I said, in a very similar way to the TikTok
That shit was
songs
fire,
we
though.
see
I don't give a
today.
fuck.
And the genre that prevailed
Hey, baby.
during the ringtone era
Hey,
was
baby.
rap. Ringtones were so cheap, too, it was easy to get a bunch. One of the biggest songs commonly known for starting the genre was Laffy Taffy by
That
TKO,
Laffy
which
Taffy.
was dropped in
That
2005
Laffy
and
Taffy.
went viral the next year. By 2007, the ringtone industry was surprisingly huge, and they brought in $881 million. It got to the point that ringtones were significantly outselling albums, which is crazy to think about. Around this time, the music industry was in a weird spot, with labels struggling to monetize albums, as well as declining sales because of websites like Napster and LimeWire, so they heavily leaned into ringtones to boost their sales. And at the peak of the
Shout out
ringtone
LimeWire.
industry, it was worth about $1
It
billion.
fucked up our computer,
I mean,
but
I'm
shout out
sure a lot of
LimeWire.
you guys out there remember, especially if you're a little older, back when everyone had like some really loud and obnoxious ringtone on their phone, because it was such a neat and new thing that everyone loved playing around with it and having their favorite song go off all the time. And like I said, rap was dominating the ringtone charts. AT&T released a list of 2007's most popular ringtones.
All right. Hold on, I want to look at this real quick. Okay. So, yes, we got Party Like a Rock Star. And then we got This Is Why I'm Hot. And then we got and then we got We got isn't this? No, wait, no, that's Photograph. Isn't this the one? Hold up. How does that one go? Fucking how does this one go? How does Rockstar go? I know this. Fuck, how does this one go? How does this one go? Damn it. Everybody. Oh yeah, he's like, I wanna be a rock star. Yeah, that's that one. Then we have nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter, no, 'cause I got you, babe. And then we got, let me buy you a drink. I'ma take it home with me. I got money in the bank. And then we got, hey, baby. Hey, baby. We got that one. Then we have, your way to beautiful girls. And then we got Pop, Lock, and Drop It. Pop, Lock. I think the only song on this list I don't know is Fergie. I don't know how the fuck that song goes. So
And the entire list was
ain't
rap
nobody
songs.
worried about
it
that
had
shit.
artists like Shot Boys, Soulja Boy, T-Pain, Hurricane Chris, and more. They were even running ads on MTV advertising their ringtones they had for sale.
Get these hip-hop real sounds as a ringtone on your cell now. Type H1 for Holla Back Youngin' by Fabulous. Type H2 for Trillville's Get Some Crunk in Yo System. Or type H3 for Twisted Sunshine to 755-55.
In a very, very similar way to TikTok, rappers would release their songs hoping that they'd be catchy enough to become a ringtone and go viral on the ringtone charts. But this also created a problem. While ringtone rap did have a lot of successful tracks and helped to grow the genre, instead of artists just trying to make good songs, it seemed like it shifted towards artists trying to make the best ringtone. Basically, all they had to do was focus on making 30 seconds of the song extremely catchy, sort of disregarding the other parts of the song. This also caused there to be a whole lot more one-hit wonders in this era as well. Some of these one-hit wonders got record deals just because of a ringtone rap rather than their actual catalog. And this left a lot of consumers of these songs, especially older consumers, feeling like ringtone rap was destroying hip-hop. And this kind of plays into the dark era that I'm talking about earlier, because these ringtones were a lot less lyrical focused, they were more melodic, they were more crunk. I don't know if that was probably the word they used back then. And old heads routinely blamed artists like Soulja Boy for destroying the genre. I also think people back then felt a lot how people felt recently.
I remember that
about
when they
TikTok
animated
songs.
that shit in
remember when Steve
Boondocks?
Lacy performed Bad Habit and no one knew the words to anything but the chorus?
The way nobody sang the next verse embarrassing as.
This is the type of unenthusiasm people
That's
probably
crazy,
shared
bro.
during a good
That
bit
is
of the
crazy.
ringtone
Could you
rap era.
imagine
Sure,
going
hooks
to
are
the
catchy,
concert
but the
and
rest of the
niggas
track-
to your own concert and niggas only know your hook? I'd walk off stage right there, bro.
tracks weren't all that interesting. I'm not saying Steve Lacy's track wasn't interesting. It was a great song in total, but most people were focused on those 30 seconds and that was it. A lot of people look back on this era with nostalgia, which is totally valid, and there were plenty of great songs, but looking back, this era wasn't producing the best music hip-hop has ever seen. Instead, they were cranking out short, viral moments over and over again rather than catalog artists or beautiful songs that are super meaningful, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, a lot of these songs were fun and catchy, and they definitely made great ringtones, and some of them still go to this day. But a lot of people looking back aren't as big on this era as they may have been back then.
When the whole ringtone rap era was in place. No, you're right.
Do you hear these accents?
Get that, bro.
Rap wasn't a dark, rap wasn't a dark, bro. There was like a 3-year period where rap was dark,
horrible. Horrible,
it was like post 50. It was a dark.
No electricity.
Bro, wallah.
It's Aaron speaking made a video on this and summed it up best when he said, the ringtone era was so fire, yet so trash at the same time. In 2010, a consumer analyst group said that by 2016, the ringtone business would be non-existent, and clearly that's what ended up happening. After a few more popular ringtones came out in 2009, like Boom Boom Pow by the Black Eyed Peas, or Drake's Best I Ever Had, or Party Like a Rockstar from Shot Boys, ringtone rap started slowly dying out. The era only really lasted from like 2004 to 2009. This is due to a few factors, like ringtones dying out because smartphones evolved and a lot of people just use default ringtones or keep it on vibrate. I mean, think about the last time you heard someone's phone go off with a really loud, obnoxious rap
True.
song.
My phone always on
That
vibrate, if
just
I'm
doesn't
being
happen
honest.
anymore. So without ringtones, a lot of these very short and super catchy rap songs had nowhere else to go. But right after the ringtone era, with the rise of the internet, a new era was ushered in, the blog era. The blog era...
All right, now, how we feel about this, right? Because I actually like the blog era. This was like, what, 09 to like 2013, 2014? We, like, looking at these albums right here, hey, this wasn't a bad era. I was actually thinking about this. This blog era shit was kind of cool. Like, this shit was like, you know what I'm saying?
Mainly
This
from
one,
mid to late 2000s.
like Rocky, Tyler, Earl, Drake, Wiz Khalifa, B.O.B., Chance the Rapper, Big Crib, Big Sean, like, what was that one, Ashton something. People know what I'm talking about. But yeah, bro, trust me.
2010s, and was responsible
Blog
for
era,
launching the careers of many big names
Kendrick,
like Drake,
J. Cole,
and Mac Miller, just to name a few. Honestly, this era launched so many legendary careers, it could probably get its own video. And it's kind of surprising that so many guys made it out of this era, especially since it followed a bit of a low point with ringtone rap.
So for some of y'all who don't know, I am a blog era mixtape rapper, you know what I'm saying? I'm somebody who came up in that blog era and you know, got blessed with the cosign of Ye, and then had to really build my fan base organically, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't no playlist and it wasn't no streaming like that, and it was a tough time. I want to shout out all my peers, all my people who was in the blog era, rappers that's still doing their thing, because to make it out of there, it wasn't easy, you know what I'm saying? You had to take them on that journey with you, so salute to all of them.
It's almost like the artists from the blog era were forced to actually make good music to succeed, because at this point, listeners were totally burnt out on gimmicks or cash grabs. What separated the blog era from others is that it came at a time when artists first started leveraging the internet. Keep in mind, this was still before streaming services were popular, so the landscape looked completely different. As a musician, it was still nearly unheard of to release music without the marketing push of a record label. Independent blogs, though, became a source for fans to find the hottest underground music, and this new avenue of communication opened the floodgates for hip-hop's potential. A lot of the super popular albums that came out around this time were put out as free mixtapes too, so these artists were basically giving away their best music for free. However, it was clearly worth the risk, since through all the hardship, countless stars were born. According to Complex, the blog era was the Wild West of music distribution and discovery. There was no standardization of music release timing or best practices that artists and management were pressured to adhere to. Everything was powered by instinct, especially if you had not already fully made it. Things were so chaotic, some of the genre's all-time best albums like Kendrick's Good Kid, Mad City were leaked on zip files and spread like a wildfire days before the official drop. This leak prompted him to create the Heart Part 3, Last Minute, which featured the bar, "Even when my album leak, fans still buy it for proof," and closed with "Will You Let Hip Hop Die" on October 22nd, which was the day his album...
October 22nd gang, October 22nd gang, October 22nd gang, yes sir. Yes sir. See, y'all not as cool as me. Sorry, bro. Sorry to the other birthdays, bro. Sorry.
One was
Y'all not as cool as me. Sorry.
And this line stands out because Kendrick is warning the fans that leaks and the internet could cause problems for the genre. Regardless, blogs at this time like Two Dope Boys, Ill Roots, Pigeons and Planes, Fake Shore Drive, Fader, Pitchfork, Rap Radar, Complex, Not Right, Smokin' Section, Ruby Hornet, and more carried a big responsibility in pushing new music. Each blog had its own unique following, flow, and subgenre, which allowed for all sorts of hip-hop music to thrive. Two Dope Boys was known for being one of the fastest. Ill Roots was known for its cool, cutting-edge visuals. Pigeons and Planes was known for industry sauce, and each other had its own personal strength. Artists were telling stories and blogs were giving organic feedback, all in efforts to further promote the music. This pushed artists to create deeper, thought-out 360 experiences with their mixtapes for blogs to dissect and interpret.
For real, what happened was like the blog era, like that shit put me in motion. Like I tell people all the time, my homegirl just typed in Google when I put my first mixtape out. And I don't know if it was Google because it was back then, so I don't know. But that's how I learned of all the blogs. She typed my name in and it popped up that all these people had wrote these articles, and it felt like I was looking at all the magazines. It felt like XXL, Vibe. And I was like, damn, there is a whole nother group of writers. I don't have to deal with with this shit. If they're not fucking with it, there's a whole nother batch of people that is. That just made me just keep pumping shit out.
Finding new music became fun again, and the ways to find it were nearly endless. Chance the Rapper famously embodied this era with the release of his mixtape Acid Rap, which also featured the unplanned drop of the song Acid Rain, similar to Kendrick's The Hard Part 3. On Acid Rain, Chance, again similarly to Kendrick, poured out his soul and the listeners could tell. Overall, like the music of its time, the blogs were telling a story and putting people on to the great underground music that was coming out. It was extremely refreshing, especially to fans coming off the ringtone era. The blog was symbolic of a well-needed revival in hip-hop, bringing artists back to their roots in lyricism,
This nigga
quality
Tyler
beats,
ugly,
creativity,
bro.
and storytelling. Without it, you could argue that the entire rap industry would look a little bit different than how we know it today. And of course, there's many more artists from the blog era that I probably didn't list. I know Odd Future famously hated the blog era because they weren't really included in a lot of the blogs, but they came up around that time too, and there's plenty more that I probably
Joey
missing.
Badass,
So let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. So if there's anything to take away from this video, it's that rap is always changing, and while people may hate the change at first, eventually some artists step up and keep pumping the genre full of life and new exciting music. Sometimes it just takes a few growing pains to get there. If you like this video, you might like my video on some of the biggest music festival disasters in history, and I don't think that needs too much explanation. I mean, the title tells you what it's about right there. But again, if you like this video, please make sure to leave a like or even...
Okay. If I'm being honest, if we're going based off of what he says, that means he thinks that the blog era is the best era of hip-hop. He didn't even mention today's music, though. What would today's era be? Would it really be TikTok? I feel like TikTok rap, if we're saying today's era of music is TikTok rap, I feel like, I don't know, that, like, it's not a good, like, I don't know, I feel like that's not a good, like, name for it. I don't know.